We're just 3 months away from Euro 2024 and Germany looks weaker than ever. Last year, the Mannschaft suffered historic losses against Japan, Turkey, Austria, Colombia and Poland, and despite the changes in managerial position, the future continues to look extremely grim for the 4-time world champions. But how could this happen to the best European national team in history? How could they go from world champions to 16 in the FIFA rankings in just a span of 10 years? Might look surprising at first sight, but by the end of the video, you'll realize that this massive downfall had been on the horizon for a long time and could have easily been prevented. But the problem with the German national team extends far beyond the football pitch. Their own supporters and fellow countrymen can't agree on anything. Some are in favor of Germany's fight for human rights, such as their decision of trying to wear the One Love armband in the Qatar World Cup, while others just want them to focus on playing better. When it comes to playing style, there's still no consensus. Many fans want the Germans to continue playing with the same grit and physicality that they accustomed the world in the previous decades, while the newer generation prefer a more technical approach. Obviously, it's impossible to appeal to everyone, but the worst part of this issue is the fact that the Germans are neither as tenacious and effective as they were a decade ago, nor as technically sound as the best nations in the world. Germany is in a state of limbo. They can't live up to the expectations of the past, nor to the level of their current rivals, and unfortunately, they realize this issue way too late. As a consequence, the German people have lost interest in their national team. I'm sure that if you grew up watching your country thrash every national team to pieces no matter their size, you wouldn't like to see your national team downgrading into a B-tier side. The federation's attempts of marketing their name as the Mannschaft also didn't resonate with their passionate fans who never used that term in the country, while their miserable campaigns in the last 2 World Cups alienated any hope that still lingered among the most optimistic of fans. All of this negativity undoubtedly plays a huge role on the players' morale during their time in the national team, but the fans are far from the main reason behind Germany's woes. The fact of the matter is that Germany has several positional problems that greatly impact their chances of being successful. Throughout history, Germany always produced great individuals across all positions on the field. At center back, you had Beckenbauer, Zammer, and more recently Boateng and Hummels. In the striker role, you had Müller, Voller, Klinsmann and Klose. But nowadays, both positions are depleted of valuable options. No disrespect to Süle, Rudiger or Füllkrug, but they would only be bench players at best during Germany's brightest periods. And even though there's a greater number of technically gifted midfielders than ever before, there's simply no way of taking advantage of their talents since there's no cohesion between them, nor an elite man up front to take advantage of their creativity. So, who's to blame? Are the Germans simply going through an unlucky period? Well, I think that every effect has a cause, and there's definitely a couple of reasons behind their tactical issues. The first is none other than Pep Guardiola. According to legendary midfielder Bastian Schweinsteiger, when Pep Guardiola arrived in Munich, he put on a lot of emphasis on the players' technical ability. Bayern's men became good passers, better readers of the game, but while that was a good thing on the short term, in the long run, the other aspects in which the Germans had an edge, such as their physicality, defensive solidity, and fighting spirit, were forgotten by the newer generations. The second is the lack of investing in national talent. Not so long ago, Bayern and Dortmund were 2 solid forces in Europe, with the bulk of their teams originating from their own nation. But during the last decade, Dortmund gradually fell off and focused their recruiting on other parts of the world. Bayern, on the other hand, continued to dominate Bundesliga, but they grew complacent with a lack of serious challengers and have continuously delayed their much-needed rebuild. Besides, the Bavarians need to stay competitive in Europe against the financial powerhouses of the Premier League and led the club to bet on risk-free options such as the signing of Harry Kane and Kim Min-jae, instead of opting for less proven German players who could either blossom or completely crack under pressure. And the third and final reason behind their tactical problems is that most their prospects from 10 years ago have failed to live up to their potential. You see, there's a certain notion that Germany won their last World Cup in a period where their best players were already on the sunset of their careers. But in reality, the future looked promising for the Mannschaft. Many young players across all areas of the field performed way above the average for their age. But unfortunately, whether due to injuries or lack of drive, they simply couldn't reach the heights they created for themselves. Voland, Draxler and Churla could have become an iconic front three, but nowadays they're only the retired or past their best days. Mustafi, Durm and Hector are all retired, even though they had the potential to lead Germany's defensive line in 2024. Either way, no matter if it's due to bad luck or poor future planning, the Mannschaft is in very bad shape. And while that's true, you can still smell a sense of superiority in those friendlies that they repeatedly lose. Germany still plays with the arrogance of who has won it all, but if that arrogance isn't paired with the tenacity and efficiency of their glory days, it does them way more harm than good. I'm genuinely curious to see what the future holds for Deutschland. Back in 2006, Germany were going through a similar period after a clear downgrade from their successful run in the 90s, and curiously, they were also about to host a major international tournament. German fans just hoped they wouldn't suffer another embarrassment like they did in Euro 2004, but after all was said and done, they left with a bronze medal and kickstarted yet another successful period. On the other hand, you also have cases like Italy, where after the Calciopoli scandal, they could never consistently stay at the world-class level with just a few glimmers of hope here and there. But what do you think? Can Germany bounce back? Or will we look at them in the future as just a former glory like Hungary or Italy? Let me know your opinion in the comments so we can start the discussion. Drop a like if you want to watch more content like this, and subscribe to never miss the most interesting football content on YouTube. Thank you for watching till the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one.